If you want to live close to Seattle and be near light rail without paying those central Seattle prices, these three neighborhoods come up a lot, but they don't feel the same in real life. And today I'm showing you exactly what I saw when I went out scouting out the areas for you. Now, real quick, here's how I'm judging these neighborhoods today, because the best kind of depends on you, not just my opinion. So I want to give you as many straightforward facts and information as I possibly can. So the way I'm judging this is, first of all, walkability for daily life, right? So parks, coffee, errands, that sort of thing. And then we've got the transit convenience. Like, how easy does it feel to actually use it? How easy is it to access that light rail? And then we've got the neighborhood vibe, more residential versus more urban. And housing feel, are there lots of single family pockets? Are there lots of multi-family clusters? Is there a good mix of the both? And then of course, a bit of a reality check. What felt polished versus what felt like it was still in transition? And a quick note, I'm sharing what I observed while I was scouting out. I'm not going to make any guarantees here. If you have some other information about these areas that might help us all make better decisions, please feel free to let us know in the comments. All right, let's get down to it. Mount Baker was the first neighborhood I explored, and it was a surprise in the best sort of way. I had been to Mount Baker a few times in the past, but just kind of on the outskirts. I didn't really realize how much of a gem you would find the further you get in. And I really did find that park adjacent pocket that with surrounding streets that felt genuinely walkable. Then it gave me that neighborhood-y vibe and that tucked in feeling that some of you are looking for. My first stop had to be Bright Spot Coffee, because coffee is life, and it's sitting right across the street from Mount Baker Park, and I'm gonna go explore that park because it looked really cool. Okay, I also really wanted to note that it is a beautiful sunshiny day, and it was supposed to be raining today, but again, in Western Washington, you never know. The weather's gonna change so many times. You can't really keep track, you just gotta prepare. So like, I've got a raincoat in the car, I've got a snow hat, it was snowing this morning. Got all the options with me today. I was supposed to start this scouting mission yesterday, but it was too rainy and I just wasn't up for it. So I decided to wait till today, and I was gonna go rain or shine. Well, luckily it is shine. Mount Baker provides convenience and charm. You're real close to this city without feeling like you're living right downtown. I noticed on my way in how quickly the streets went from urban feel to residential. And then I noticed that there was this park, Mount Baker Park, that winds all the way through the neighborhood, providing you lots of opportunity for that nature reprieve without having to go far. One of the things I love about living in the Pacific Northwest is just that. And Western Washington specifically, we have so many of these little parks. Me and my girls like to call it, let's go on a city hike. Because we don't really have to go very far to feel like you're out in the woods. What struck me coming in, the closer we got to this park area, where there was multiple neighborhoods that were super charming and quite quiet. And the other really unique thing about Mount Baker, which is why I decided to come down to this area and scout it out, is you're right next to one of the rail stations, the light rail station. So if you don't really feel like doing that drive into downtown, you can just head right over to the light rail station, hop on that train, and get you right into downtown, or all the way down in Tacoma if you're wanting to go down south. And so one of the things about living in downtown Seattle is people don't want to deal with the traffic, and the traffic is getting more congested in the downtown area. And so a great alternative is to use the light rail, and the light rail is actively being built and continues to get increasingly more convenient. As you can see here, you have to drive through a bit of an urban area in order to get to the more quiet residential streets of Mount Baker. Okay, let's go over some of the pros and cons of this neighborhood. Pros, we're gonna start there. Best neighborhood feel pocket of the three for sure, especially near Mount Baker Park. solid mix of character homes and calmer streets, especially once you're in a few blocks. Now you're close to Seattle without feeling like you're in the middle of downtown. That's pretty great. Now the cons that I see are around the transit center itself. The vibe does shift significantly. More traffic, more hub energy, and it didn't feel as pleasant to walk around the areas right around the transit center. If you want cute and walkable right next to the station, this one takes more block by block selection for sure. Now, the next stop on my adventure was Beacon Hill. And Beacon Hill was one of the most balanced areas in my perspective. It had great transit convenience, lots of everyday livability right there near the hub, and a real mix of single family and multifamily without feeling like it's trying too hard. Okay, I've made it to the Beacon Hill area. Now, as I'm driving to Beacon Hill, I'm noticing right away that you're not going to get quite that polished feel that you saw in Mount Baker area. But that's okay. We don't always have to have that polished feel. It still feels like a safe area when you're walking. You see lots of people walking and enjoying this beautiful winter sunny day. And you see some homes that are definitely newer, some that are older. The station area that we're heading to right now is very fresh and very new. They're clearly building that up. It's also right across the street from a Red Apple grocery store, which is old school local grocery store. And so there's a lot of convenience right in here. And so I'm walking up the hill now. I decided to take a little walk because I want to see the view of the Cascade Mountains that we're going to see when we get up the hill here. And we're going to walk over to the light rail station and check out the little shops and whatnot area that's right there. There's also a new condo building right across the street from the light rail station. One thing you're going to notice about these areas is you do get a lot of the overhead air traffic. I was noticing that as I was walking up. So this is definitely in one of the flight paths. So that's a good thing to know. The other thing I wanted to note is Seattle area started doing this thing where they close off the streets here during COVID. And I've noticed that it's still happening. Some of the streets they still kind of keep as closed to provide some extra space for people to get outside and walk and ride bikes and let the kids, meet up and have a little bit of a safer space for that kind of thing. I also noticed, again, there is another free little neighborhood library. You get to exchange books with your neighbors. Love that about the Seattle area. One thing about Seattle is there's never a lack for hills. If you're the type of person that wants to get out and get some real exercise, no problem, because you're gonna get in shape real fast walking up all these hills. Okay. I made it to the top of the hill and I'm walking up towards the light rail station, and across the street is a cute little, what looks to be maybe a bagel shop at the base of either apartments or condos. And over here, I know that the top portion is condos, and there's a taco Chukis. Don't really know if I'm saying that right. This cute little courtyard area. So this building here, they've clearly kept, I'm assuming, as one of the historical buildings, and it kind of looks like maybe this is like a community center or something. But I love that they kept this historical building and then built around it. I really, really love that, because I love keeping that old school Seattle charm when we start to build up the areas. And they've done a really good job of making this space feel inviting and colorful, and we're celebrating the diversity of this city in this space, and that's really beautiful. Okay, so a big difference between Beacon Hill Light Rail Station and the Mount Baker rail station was at the Mount Baker, I didn't really find a good spot where I could stop and walk around. So I chose not to actually park and get out at that rail station. It was really busy and kind of hectic. And so this rail station is clearly kind of a hub. You can easily walk to, you can easily live near it. It feels like a little neighborhood right in here. There's lots of little restaurants and shops, and like I said, the grocery store across the street. And now I'm coming around the other side of the rail station, and maybe I should have come here for my coffee because boy, that looks real good. It's called Fresh Flowers, Fine Pastries and Coffee. Maybe I'm gonna have to come in here next time and check it out. Definitely a cute spot. Very easy access to buses and the light rail and all the conveniences. I really like this area. It's pretty cute. Okay, now I'm just 1 block away from the light rail station, the other direction from where I started my little walk, and we're in a cute, quiet residential street. The thing that's really clear is that Beacon Hill, especially this area of Beacon Hill, definitely has the conveniences as well as quiet and gives you the character at the same time. And it's easy access, like it's pretty easy to get to this area, whereas Mount Baker, it's a little bit more difficult to get to that pocket. The pocket's beautiful, but it is going to be a little bit more hairy to get in and out of that pocket to say go to Costco or something like that. Okay, now for Beacon Hill's pros and cons. So starting, of course, with the pros. Most easy mode transit feel of the three, definitely. Rail access was simple and close to daily life. It was a good blend of housing types, too. I saw condos, townhomes, multifamily near the core, and quieter single-family pockets just outside that core. More consistently walkable near the center compared to Mount Baker Transit Hub area, for sure. The cons / reality check here is it didn't feel quite as polished as Mount Baker in certain spots. It was definitely more lived in and had that more urban texture. If you want the quietest vibe possible, you'll want to be slightly off the busiest blocks. Beacon Hill definitely felt like you were in a small town tucked into the city, and you didn't forget that you were in the city because you could see Seattle sky rises from the main street. My last visit of the trip was Columbia City. Columbia City felt like the neighborhood in the middle of the biggest transformation. You can see investment and new development aiming to make it more commuter friendly, especially near the light rail. Now, I didn't get out and walk while I was visiting Columbia City because the parking and the immediate vibe didn't really feel like the best match for what we were scouting out for. But I want to show you what it looked like and explain who this could still be a great fit for. Now, the pros and cons that I see are, if you want to be near Link and you're looking for more affordability pressure relief compared to central Seattle, this area comes up for a reason. It has a bigger growth and change energy, new construction, new mixed use, more commuter infrastructure, and the potential upside for people who like being early in on an improving corridor. Now, the reality check for Columbia City is it didn't deliver that small town tucked in the city feeling for me on this pass. Had that more arterial and development corridor than Cozy Village. The walkability felt more variable block to block, and the feeling can shift quickly depending on where you are. Now, here's who I'd point to each neighborhood for. I would say choose Mount Baker if you want the most neighborhood pocket feel or that small town nestled in so far you forget you are still in the city. You care about pleasant walks near green spaces. You're okay that the best vibe is often not right at the transit entrance. It's a few blocks away. Now, choose Beacon Hill if you want the most consistent mix of walkability and transit. You like a neighborhood that feels real and livable, not curated. And you want that feeling of living in the city with a little less stress. Now, choose Columbia City if you want to be near Link and you're comfortable with a neighborhood that feels mid-transformation. You're okay with a more urban corridor feel in exchange for access to evolving amenities. You're the type who likes to get in before the story is finished. It is definitely that affordable commuter hub. Now, if you're relocating and trying to figure out where you can live near Seattle, near transit, and still feel like you're in a neighborhood and not just on the city grid, reach out because we can help you narrow it down by lifestyle and not by zip code. Now, which vibe fits you more? Mount Baker pocket walks, Beacon Hill's convenience, or Columbia City's transformation energy? If you're looking to make a move to or within Western Washington, whether it's next month or next year, we're here to do the legwork, guide you every step of the way, and make your experience as easy as possible. All our contact details are right below, so don't hesitate to reach out. And until next time, explore, dream, and discover the best places to call home.